Testing 1 2 check 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 check. All right, audio seems to be working. Where am I? Where is my face? There it is. Loud and clear. Hello, Ron. How's it going? Carlos, hey, how are you? Thank you for your membership. Appreciate that. I was about to say, why does my light look weird? Much better. I know some of you guys are probably thinking, like, isn't it done already? Like, haven't you? No, it's not done yet. I'll explain what all is going on this. I'm trying something new, trying something different. And we have a couple more of these to do, too. We've got at least 3 more. And depending on how they go, I might do some of the others, too. We got a bunch of Thundercats characters here. Let's see. YouTube emailing me to let me know I am online. Thank you. Turn my phone off. How are y'all doing today? My webcam looks overblown right now. Hold on. Oh, there we go. My real camera stopped working, so I'm back on my webcam, which actually doesn't look terrible at this size. It looks more terrible at this size. my beard is so out of whack. What's going on here? There we go. Alrighty. Let's see. We have chat, we have viewers. What time is it? 5 minutes. Anybody got a line on a PS5 you want to tell me about? Any secret tricks to getting one of those? While we're waiting, some GameStop employee have the hookup for me. Where you at? I wish I was kidding. All right, let's do. We don't need this anymore. I've given up on PS5. No, I can't give up on PS5. I gotta play Miles Morales. What else do I want to play on PS5? I don't know. I don't. Yeah, mainly Spider-Man. Anything else, we'll figure out later. But I gotta get this 60 frames Spider-Man, dude. Horizon's not gonna be out for a while. I want to play the Ratchet game, but I don't think that's coming out yet. I've never played Ratchet and Clank, but that video that they showed, or the couple of videos I've seen, it's one of the coolest looking games I've ever seen. I want to play it. But yeah, I gotta play my Spider-Man. Bug snacks, yeah, I've heard about that. I don't know anything about it, but they got enough for YouTubers, but not this YouTuber. That's my problem. I got to start doing PS5 reviews every 5 years. I'm surely that will get me a PS5 next time. How are we doing? All right, about 2 minutes, guys. I don't want to start early because I know people may be planning on coming here at 10. So I do have Cyberpunk for the computer though. I got it for PC, which I don't ever hardly do, but I got to use this video card for something other than rendering videos. So I'll be doing some streams with Cyberpunk also. I don't know how that's going to work with YouTube's system of their sensitivity to certain things. We're gonna find out though. I want to because it's got all the ray tracing and shadows and light that works the way light actually works. So I actually want to do some lessons. I want to do some lessons in Cyberpunk. I don't know if that's going to be a thing, but I want to try. It'll be interesting to say the least. Maybe it'll fail horribly, but I think it'll be cool. Hey Keeper, how's it going? Morning. Got about a minute. We'll see if YouTube will allow this woman on the stream today without any weirdness. Like if you show a leg or something, they'll demonetize my stream. So I'm risking it here. I feel like today. My last 2 live streams have been demonetized. It was like Captain America holding a hammer. And what was the other one? Yeah, like no reason whatsoever. But of course, it starts just as soon as I move to YouTube. Like it had never happened before, and I like leave Twitch, come to YouTube for the weekly stream, and then they're just like demonetizing everything. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. All right, is it 10 o'clock yet? 10 seconds. Hey, Rowler, how's it going? Good morning. All right, 10 o'clock. Welcome, all. My name is Kurt. You probably know that. And Guile Sharp, who's an artist that I follow, and I colored a Spider-Man by him a while back. Posted some Thundercats on Twitter. Hello, Chris. Hello, Victor. Hi, Kurt. It's so late over here. I wish I could stay for the whole sesh, but it's 3 a.m. in Australia. Sorry, buddy. Sleep earlier? I don't know. Sorry. Wish I could help. Thanks for coming in at 3 o'clock to tell me that, because I appreciate it. That shows you're crazy, or one of us is. I don't know. But thank you. But no, Guile did a whole series of these. There's 5 or 6 of them. And I got the 4 main characters flatted, and I want to try a new technique anyway. And I've already started on this. I actually started on this. I do a live stream for the members, for my patrons and members on my Discord and all that stuff. Every month and do critiques and stuff like that. And I started this one in there Sunday, and it's not as far along as it looks like it is. This is a different technique I have not tried before. I picked this up from Mark Brunet, or Cube Brush, if you guys follow him. I think he's on YouTube and Twitter and everything. But great artist, concept artist, and painter, and all this kind of stuff. And so I'll show you guys how I started this, and then I'll show you where we're going to end up, what I've done already, and what we're going to do to start today. So there's a lot of layers. Don't let this confuse you. This is a sort of a weird layering setup. So these are, let's see, down here, this is, don't worry about this. I'll get to that later. The outline is just the outline of the character, so that I can quickly select the character. I'm going to go ahead and lock that because I don't want to change it. There are some flats here, which you don't really see at all. Couple of layers for the background. I just wanted to put something back there so it wasn't empty. Opposite of orange and yellow, basically. So bluey, purple background. There's a set of base colors, which you guys are familiar with already. And then what else is in here? So this layer is, I know it feels like the rest of the owl a little bit, if you know that meme, but This layer here is, I'll show you guys what I did here. So, and I'll do it again on the other characters too. Eventually you'll see it. But this is basically what the gaming industry terms like ambient occlusion is a fancy term for it. It's basically just a way to get some more detail into the drawing lighting wise without really doing a whole lot of crazy rendering. Ambient occlusion, if you're not familiar with it, Google it, look at some pictures. That's the best way for me to describe what it is. But ambient occlusion is what happens in all the nooks and crannies of things that light can't bounce into. Anytime two edges meet together, even the corners of rooms, really anything, they get darker because the light can't keep bouncing as it moves toward the center. And so really this is just there to kind of act as a base. Like I'll actually be doing some rendering on top of this. Anyway, this is a step that I have not I don't think I've ever done on the channel before, but I wanted to try it today. I doubled that layer and then put a mask on it and darkened some of this up a little bit more. And just so I get some more shadows in there. There's my line art. And this is actually kind of where we're going to start today. And I'm actually I'm going to tint this a little bit more saturated, a little bit. Let's see, is that working? Why is that not doing anything? Oh, maybe because it's pure black. Yeah, I'll figure that out later. And then, anyway, so this is what it looks like as it stands right now. And, hello? Hey, Jason, how's it going? AO devoid of directional lighting. That's kind of true. It's devoid of, like, because it is somewhat directional. Like, if you go back and look at this, it's, the light is kind of coming from the front and around and all that. So it's a soft light. There's really not a whole lot of hard shadows or anything, but it does have some direction. It's just not really strong direction or anything like that. But I want to basically cover this with using this as a shadow. This is what is this? This is just a multiply layer set to well, not set to, it's set to multiply, and then we've got this purpley color here. And I'm gonna see how this goes. I haven't tried this before, but we'll see what happens. I do have my wand set to refer to the flats, which is set to reference layer, so I don't have to go in and keep switching layers out. And I'm going to be coloring on the mask from this layer. Okay, so right now this kind of shadow colors everything or covers everything, and I want to pull that away basically in some places. So so yeah, and this is also I'm kind of wanting over the next 3 or 4 pieces like this, I want to try to hone in on this technique, kind of figure it out, because I will probably be making a either a course or video or something based on these ideas at some point. But we'll see. We'll see. How's everybody else out there doing? Let's see. Do I want to start on her skin, or I'll start on her hair, I guess. And I'm probably gonna... Great, everybody's doing great. Okay, good. So I'm gonna start by kind of throwing this light all over, and then kind of cut it away where I don't want it. And so far, this has actually just all been a soft airbrush. I've also got this, what's it called? Pure paint brush, which I like. So basically everything I'm doing now is all taking place on that mask. So either I'm painting it away or I'm adding it, and that is pretty much it. But I haven't done anything really detailed in a long time, and it's something I want to work on. Being able to do more detail more quickly, and this is really just it's really just that one extra step that I'm taking here that I'm hoping does something useful. This brush, by the way, if you do have Clip Studio and you want to try it, it's a free brush in the store, the Clip, not whatever asset area, whatever it's called. Um, excuse me. Loving the color work, looks epic so far. Thank you, Miss Leisha. Appreciate that. She has spots in her hair. I think it. I don't know if it's spots or shadows or what that is, but I don't know. It could be. Maybe it's spots. I did not draw this, so I don't know. But I'm trying to just sort of I'm thinking about the light coming from the top on this one, and highlighting all the places that are going to catch most of that. The other thing I like about Guile's work is he also does a really good job of like this hair is not just like random lines of hair thrown around. Like there's like you can trace the strands and they like create forms and little tendrils, and you can paint around them, and like it makes it much easier to do this kind of thing. I've talked about this a couple of times in the monthly classes, I think, but like I see a lot of colorists that are just learning or trying to figure out how to do this or learning more about it or whatever, and like I don't think people realize how much difference your choice of line art makes. Like it makes a massive difference in the kind of rendering you can do, and you know how detailed you can make things. And the example that I gave to them, and the example I'll give you now, is your line art. If you're gonna do like realistic rendering, which is what I'm calling, I mean realistic rendering. I just mean like detailed rendering where you can see lights and shadows and all that kind of stuff. If your line art doesn't, how do I put this? Well, I always used Fred Flintstone as an example. Like if you're trying to add a bunch of detailed rendering to a piece of line art that isn't shaped realistically, or at least not even shaped realistically, but like, excuse me, something that could like be sculpted, like that has like, you know, form and shape, like yeah, you can render that stuff all day long. But if you think about characters like really cartoony characters, Fred Flintstone, you know, any of those, like the old like really flat, what was the blue dog that flew around? I can't think, his name has lost me. I'm showing my age here. But like that era of like those kind of cartoons that are designed to be flat, like if you go look at a toys or statues or plush dolls of like Fred Flintstone and notice how strange they look, because he's not meant to exist in 3 dimensions. So he doesn't look like the cartoon, you know? And I see a lot of colorists that like will go just download some random line art that looks like that and then try to do this, and it doesn't work. It's not going to work. Hopefully that makes sense anyway. What would you say are the benefits of using this technique as opposed to your regular process? My regular process doesn't have as much detail in the shadows, basically, or as much detail in general. Like all this stuff on her face, it's almost independent of like any light source. It's just there to add detail. You know what I mean? It's not really there to be lighting, or it's not really there to be what like we would generally call highlights or shadows or whatever. But I don't know. Hopefully that makes sense. And because this is on a mask, like I'm able to just pull this right back in if I want. Like right now, I'm just switched to a solid color on the mask, and it's pulling that red stuff back in here, or that shadowy color. But I figure if I can reproduce this for 3 different or 4 different characters, or however many characters there are I'm going to end up doing with this, then I should feel better about this process by then. So we'll see how it goes. Underdog. That's right. Where are my old people at? There we go. But yeah, the benefits mark are basically just like an extra layer of detail, basically. Of lighting information, maybe is more specific. What if she dyed her hair black? Don't know if this was asked already, but are you using a plug-in for your color wheel in Photoshop? This is in Photoshop. This is Clip Studio Paint Pro. Always thought your work had tons of shadow detail already. Really? All right. Well, go look at somebody like, my mind's gone. Mark Brooks. Go Google Mark Brooks art. Okay. Now, this is not within a mile of what he's doing. But like when I talk about shadow detail, like that's where I would like to eventually end up. Like that sort of level of detail and that much color information. It requires specific line art for that. Like I said, it requires pretty realistic line art. But that's kind of, so when you say I do a lot of shadow detail, like I want you just to realize what I'm comparing that to myself. So my usual stuff to me is not that detailed. Is he a contemporary painter? Yeah, like he's a current comic book artist painter. Like he does covers and stuff. I would like to get to that point where that's the other reason I'm trying to kind of playing around with this is I would like to eventually be able to do some painting on covers and stuff like that. Hopefully, I don't know. We'll see. I think he's probably Marvel exclusive. I don't think I've seen him on anything else. I met him somewhere, some show, and he had his actual, like he paints traditionally too, or before he might do some digital cleanup or something, but he had a lot of his originals there, and oh man, it was amazing. I got to just pick his brain about what he was doing and didn't understand a word of it, but it was fascinating. Mark, his name is Mark. M-A-R, I don't know if it's K or C, but I think it's K. So I'm going to start with just like a soft airbrush over like this whole area, especially on her forehead. Can anyone give a quick rundown on the new coloring technique? Yeah, Keeper's got it. There's basically another layer of shadows on this that I haven't used before. And I'm also doing more, just more rendering than usual, basically. And I'm basically revealing a shadow underneath at the moment. All of this is on this layer. So the shadow's there, and I'm basically painting it away. Excuse me. I'm deleting everything except for her chest right now because I want to use some big strokes and I don't want it to be affected by... I don't want it to affect these other areas. I'm also trying to cut in and do some edges that are harder than others. Like they shouldn't all be soft or shouldn't all be hard. I'm trying to mix it up a little bit. And this is all the soft airbrush so far. I mean, except for a little bit of that other brush, but all of this, even the small stuff, I'm just using the soft airbrush. Because you can make that brush small and you do details with it, or you can make it big and do big sweeping areas with it, or... flexible anyway. Always use the keyboard. Almost always. You figure out what color I want to do those spots to at some point. If you had to, do you think you could do someone's makeup well? My wife has asked me about that a couple times. I think she's curious too. Um, I think if I learned the the physicality of the like the brushes and how they work and all that stuff, you know what I mean? Like, I would have to sort of kind of figure out those aspects first, and then I think I do think I could do that. And I'm just hitting the letter C to switch to back and forth between the color and transparency here. The pen pressure is just on opacity right now. Yeah, you can't post links in the chat. Sorry about that, Sarah. Kirk could probably do makeup better than girl makeup. I don't know. Probably not. They have more practice than I do. This is just a mask, Jason. So like here's the contents of this layer. It's in multiply. The blending mode is here and here, so you can see that. The whole thing was filled with that color, and I'm just painting it away. So I'm revealing what's underneath with the mask. Hopefully does that make sense? And as I get further and further away, I actually talk about this a little bit, or I spend a little bit of the next episode of Caveman Color Theory talking about this. I'll get to your question in just a second, Black. But what was I talking about? Or I'm so easily distracted. Oh, gradients, contrast. Yeah. So like the next episode of Caveman comes out next week, and there's a section on contrast, and so what you'll notice on this drawing is that this area, at least where the character is where I'm spending 75% of my time on this drawing, probably. Maybe more. And then the further we get down, the less detail there's going to be, the less contrast there's going to be. And that's intentional to get you to look this way. So I'm not just like randomly throwing light everywhere. Like even the light on her, torso down here is not quite as intense as it is up here. And that'll keep throughout this entire thing. I'll actually come back around this one last time and do some highlights also. That'll be a separate process. Let's see. When you did the ambient occlusion, did you do mostly gray tones? I see them a lot in the color history. So originally, yes, they were just gray. Like everything was gray. I didn't really bother with changing any of the colors because it's just faster to go through all at one time and do this. And this is actually, it says AO backup, because what I ended up doing was I sort of unintentionally used some white in places here. Like you can see that here. Like I didn't really mean to use that white because I wanted to be able to keep the shadows separate. And so after I did all of this, I put it back on a white layer, just a regular white layer underneath it, flattened it so that I only have gray tones again, and then change the transparency, the opacity to transparency, or whatever it's called, or brightness to opacity in Eclipse, so that it gets rid of all the white or any shades of gray or whatever. That left me with this layer, and you can see the colors on this. So The original is not even showing up. It's actually below all this other stuff. But the AO shadows are tinted a little bit. Each one's tinted just a tad. I haven't actually done it yet on her costume. I think this is still... Yeah, some of this is still black. Some of this will get changed. But I'll show you. It's very subtle. There's not a whole lot. Let me see. If I grab like this, and what else was gray? All of this stuff was gray, and that stuff was gray, and that was gray. So like, I just opened up like color balance, I think it was, and then went to the shadows, and then just shifted that color around, and you can see it more in some areas than others, especially like up there by your neck, like right up here. You can see that kind of shifting. So I made it a little bit warmer. And so most of those real deep shadows are warm on this because she's very warm and the light is bouncing off the warm and making it more warm, and there's just a lot of warm. So it's almost all warm. Kurt's gonna do makeup on hard light layers. I can do it. Show me how. So she's already bright orange, and the shadow is masking away dulled it. Yes, it did. That's this color without the line, without the shadows. My computer keeps freezing out. Gotta cut them. Sorry about that, Calvin. Have you tried turning it off and on again? It's cool because it's non-destructive and allows you to change colors quick and easy. Yep. What does that vertical red to the left of layer 4 mean? A clipping mask. Hi, Kurt. How can I get your review? What do you mean by that, Fauci? Cool. All right. What was I doing? The one thing I do like about this is you can sort of kind of fake detail by getting that shadow done first. Like there's so much of this that like you can kind of fudge over and it still works, which is kind of interesting to me. For me, I don't know why, but to me, to separating these processes, it makes it easier on my head to figure out. AO rendering as a separate entities gives an interesting rendering shapes. Yeah, it does kind of change. It does kind of change the way things appear to be, which I like. More on masking shadows out, lights in is essentially the grayscale rendering because mask is only black and white. I think I follow what you're saying. I don't know what you're saying. I'm not gonna lie. The thing that intrigues me about this particular method is that I feels like it's easily repeatable. And that's important because I don't want to like do something that like is the stars have to align for it to work, like you know. um excuse me, I gotta refill my water, guys. Be right back. And I'll make sure the next one that I do, I start from the beginning. This one I had already started, but the next couple will, you guys will see the whole thing happen. So Miss Leisha, do you prefer Photoshop or Clip Studio Pro, or do you find they have similar features? They have a lot of very similar features. I use Clip Studio primarily right now for the reference layers. Like right now, like if I was in Photoshop, I would have to go down to the flats layer, make a selection, and then go back to the rendering layer I'm on, which doesn't sound like much, but that's 2 or 3 clicks that I don't need to do. So by having reference layers, I can tell the wand to refer to reference layers and then make the flats the reference layer. And I never have to go to the flats because the wand is looking to the flats instead of, you know, the, instead of having to switch all the time, basically. It's a huge, huge time saver. I'm actually going to shift the color of these shadows. Make them a little bit warmer and not quite as dark. Why isn't that changing? But all the work that I do ends up going through Photoshop at some point because Clip doesn't do CMYK well. So I end up in Photoshop regardless. Have I ever used Paint Tool, Sai, or Krita? I've used Krita a little bit, not much. Pure Paint is on the Clip Asset store. It's a free brush. Hey, Tiago, how's it going? All right. I'm just kind of looking at the moment to see what I'm missing. This hand doesn't have any light on it. Thinking about yeah, I shoved these base colors a little bit toward orange from yellow. Not much, but just a little bit. What else? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and what do I want to do next? I'm gonna put some more of this leg a little bit darker, I think. At least through there. I'm thinking. Will I be having a Black Friday sale? Yeah, probably so. I usually do. I'm start throwing around some brighter, like specular type highlights, I guess you would call them. This is just another hard light layer on top. I don't need a ton of it. It's easy to overdo those kind of highlights. You don't have to hit like everything in the world with it. I'm also switching to a smudge tool every now and then to blend some of this together. That was the wrong brush. So like this is a smudge tool. I'm kind of softening up these edges. Have you ever used Affinity Photo? I have not. Well, I take it back. I used it one time, but I was on the road and I had to have something that would create CMYK files on my iPad. That's the only thing I came up with. I was just now years old when I found out you did a Sanderson book. Yo, I'm super famous. You didn't know? I'm incredibly famous among several hundred people on YouTube. Yeah, that was really proud of that book. Really, really proud of how it turned out. Um, I kind of said the same thing. I'm like, I'm doing a Brandon Sanderson book. Like, I actually have. I mean, because I ordered them, but I pre-ordered the hardback so that I could get the. He did a signature card in some of them, and so I didn't know if we were gonna get. We usually don't, just get stuff like that. So, yeah, I just ordered them. trying to think of what to talk about, but I don't know. Like I'm throwing light around. um I think I wanna hold on one second here. Yeah, something like that. You love Sanderson in this house. Yeah, it's a nice book. Like it's a nice hardback book. Like I was really impressed with how it came out. Alrighty. What else? What else? What else? I'm gonna go ahead and let's change the color on these spots. I don't want to leave them black, I don't believe. So I'm gonna select all of them. We'll get that too. I'm gonna put a new layer on top of the inks and make it a clipping mask. And they're done. And I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to cut down all this saturation, or all this contrast actually down here a little bit more. Because her skin is really light. Like her skin is really light. And so I don't really want any super dark lines. Everywhere anyway. Just softening some of these up a little bit. What does I need to look at? It's been a while since I've looked at reference for her. I'm kind of going off of my childhood. She does have spots in her hair, by the way. Somebody asked that. I'm looking at pictures of her, and she has spots on her hair. I mean, I think this is. I mean, this is like obviously like a modernized, you know, cinematic version of her costume. Her other costume is much simpler. But she does have. She's got some shapes in her eyes that I have not put in here that I need to add. I'm just realizing that. So I'm going to get right above. I'm going to put this on a separate layer so I can change it easily. And let's see if I can draw this. And this goes all the way up here. And down. And then over. It's hard to tell in the cartoon. Some of it comes down more than others on some of these. Maybe this comes all the way down to here. And I'm going to mirror this on the other side. And let's see if that's our base color. Now this should, because I'm doing this on the base colors, it should maintain like everything else I've done. It looks like it is. I'm gonna go darker. There we go. So you still get the shadows coming through because it was, you know, I'm working underneath the shadows that I did. I am going to soften this a little bit, I think. Actually, you know what? Let me just, I'm going to select this edge on the top and the bottom. And blur all of this a little bit, I think. I just didn't want that hard jagged edge there necessarily. It's not much. You can barely see it anyway. But now it looks more like her. I was like, why doesn't it look like her? There was something about this that wasn't working out. Now it looks like her. I just bought the Tartarus V2 to help with workflow. Use mostly hotkeys. It's just keyboard shortcuts. Like everything's a letter, pretty much. I mean, my lasso is on. Everything has changed, I think, from default. My lasso is on E. My brush is on F. My blender is on S. D is this ink thing, which I don't really ever do. B is a pencil or a pen. A is a polyline. I don't use text really. Magic wand is on W. Quick mask is on what is that? Q. Z is still zoom. X switches between foreground and background, which I almost never use. C switches from color to transparency. And that's about it. Pan around with spacebar. But yeah, it's all on the left hand. I don't ever move my left hand ever. Every time I see an artist lift their hand off the left side of the keyboard to like go hit brackets a foot away, it makes me wonder what you're doing. What are you doing with your life? I think Mando's gonna question, is this the way now? What is that referring to? Amazon says Darkwind comes out May 18th. Is it a different version or just Amazon gets it late? You should be able to go to Vault and buy it, I would think. Amazon may have a version of it. Yeah, it's smack dab on the homepage. Or at least they're promoting it on the homepage. Let's see. Yeah, you can get it. I think you can get it now. Yeah, you can get it now from Vault if it's not on Amazon. Are you on your Cintiq? Yes, I am. How do I keep track of all that? Of all what? Amazon has a different cover? I don't think it... I mean, they might be showing a different cover, but I don't think it has a different cover. Yeah, like, what's on Amazon is... that's like the pre-production cover that probably never got changed. I'm going to actually message Adrian real quick. He's the editor in chief. Yeah, we'll see if that needs to be updated or something. The Mandalorians from Star Wars say to each other, "This is the way." Oh yeah, I'm aware of that. I just wasn't understanding what he was talking about or what he meant. Is XP Pen good enough? Because I have a budget for a while. Yeah, it's fine. Tablets don't matter anymore. Like they really don't. Get whatever you can afford. It's probably fine. Alrighty. Where's my Chitara reference? Let's see. She's actually even paler than she looks here in the cartoon. Like she's super pale. But I don't want to lose all these highlights either. So I'm gonna see what this looks like a little bit brighter, and I reserve the right to go right back to where I was. But if I brighten this a little bit. And get a little bit more yellow. It's like she looks too human colored to me. There we go. That looks more like she looks in the cartoon anyway. And then if I want, let's see, what are those? I'm gonna see if I need to shift this color around a little bit of the shadows. Yeah, and there's better contrast too, just kind of in general. Alrighty, I think we're done with this stage. So, next, what do I want to do next? At this point, it kind of just depends on how much detail I want to put in here. But let's what is on this layer? This is highlights. Yeah, let me relabel some of these. I got a bunch of highlight layers. And I'm going to add another highlight layer on top of this, and this one's going to be, I'm just going to put bounce. And then we're going to get into some of these shadows here. A little bit warmer. Oranger? Is that a word? But I want to throw some of this around in where the hair would kind of reflect off itself and reflect off her skin, and warm that up. And this is really subtle. Like, I mean, if it wasn't here, like, I don't know if you would notice, but it does add. It does add something. There's before and after. Like, it's really subtle, but it helps. I think it helps. Because yeah, you would get some reflected light off of even her costume and some of this other stuff floating around here. And plus, it just, I don't know, makes the colors more interesting that they're not all like a flat color. I see. Cool. What computer do you use? It's Windows. Windows 10. It's a computer I built. Welcome Bamboo Squad, rise up. That's right. I've I used an Intuos too for the first like 10 years of my career. So little, you can get them on eBay for $50 now. What kind of house? Damn it, Nick. What kind of house do you use to color your comments? It's a wood frame, brick exterior, vault ceilings in the living room. There you go. Nick Filardi, if you guys don't know, is a colorist himself of some repute, I may say. Been doing this quite a while. I don't know house types. A-frame, ranch. I don't know what we have. I know what it's not. Anyway, that caught me off guard. Thank you, Nick. Thank you for that. If you don't get the joke, which there's probably people that don't. If you don't get the joke, it's, and this is not a knock on anyone asking these questions, but everybody wants to know everything that you create it with. You know what I mean? Everything. So he's asking about my house because that's funny. Anyway, where was I? Now, it darkened her other hand a little bit. I don't know, something about the fact that they were. This one's a little bit further back, and it was the same as this one I didn't like, so I darkened it a little bit. Have I over rendered this to death yet? I feel like I'm getting there. That's kind of what I'm wanting to practice today anyway. So here we are. I'm darkening some of this around her head. It'll also help pull her face forward a little bit. And I don't know. What do you guys think? You think it's getting close? I wonder what her hair would look like if I did color holds on all of it. Everything else is so detailed. I feel like if I might as well try it. As always, I reserve the right to completely undo this. You don't need to defend your question, Sarah, but in my defense, I need to find a new computer. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, you guys ask whatever you want. This is like inside baseball streaming colorist humor. Like, this is very niche humor we have going on here. Super inside. No, like I was in IT before I became a nurse, before I became a before I became a colorist. So I build my own PCs, and I've got a very nice computer. I don't skimp on computers because I don't have the patience for slow computers. Again, see what I said about being in IT for that long. So no, you guys can ask whatever questions you like. I kind of meme on some of the questions, and that's why I have an FAQ, by the way. Yeah, go to comiccolor.com/FAQ. Get all sorts of answers to questions that you didn't even know you had. But, you know, and it's not me, it's any artist that interacts with the internet at large. It's like there are certain questions that just you just cannot get away from. What brush do you use? as if that's the secret. I do understand, though. I understand because I watch artists work, and sometimes I think, I'm like, that brush, it's got to be in the brush, right? like why doesn't my brush do that? Yeah, most of the time I've figured out it's like either your settings aren't right. Like I spent early on, like I spent an embarrassing amount of time on when I first started, before I realized that I had like no what do you call it, pressure. Like I wasn't using pressure. This was long before I ever did any videos or anything, like even did any work. But I had a tablet, like wasn't using pressure sensitivity for probably the first like year. It's because this is back in like 2003. Anyway, we got all the hair selected. I think so. So here's my formula for where to start on what color your color holds are. Whatever your darkest color is in that area, like her hair, like this stuff, I guess, go a little bit darker. that's probably pretty safe. And it's a little too light, so I'm going to darken it some more. There we go. Is that enough to even tell? Oh yeah, okay. Excuse me. It's like asking Sanderson where he gets his ideas. I don't know that I would put myself in his tier, but don't skimp on processor speed for this kind of use. Yeah, I'm really curious to see what those new Apple chips do. I want to see some benchmarks from someone that's not Apple. Dedicated graphics card go a long way. Not as long as I wish. There's a lot of apps that don't even like bother with using a GPU, is what I figured out. I wish this had a background, but none of these drawings do. Her skin still looks a little off to me. Just, I'm gonna try something. I want to try to get maybe some like subsurface action or something going on here. I want to warm some of this up some. I'm just using a overlay layer because it tends to not affect midtones quite as much, which makes it really good for like kind of warming things up or whatever without affecting what you're doing underneath very much. That's better. Excuse me. This thing on her chest, does it have the logo on it? Does it have the it should. Let's find that logo. Boy, I drew this logo a lot when I was a kid. Where is, I just need the regular logo. At bigger than 100 pixels tall. Fine with me. I wonder if I should do this in Photoshop. I don't even know the clip shortcuts for all that stuff. Yeah, I'm in tinkering stage at this point, if you haven't figured that out yet. Hey, W1, how's it going? Oh, I missed a call from a roofer. Hold on one second. I have holes in my roof from a hurricane. I'm waiting on contractors for estimates. He can wait another hour. I'll call him back. Yeah, it's so weird down here right now. Like, if you want like a roof patch job that normally, you could have done anytime, like everybody's roofs are messed up. So like you call, and these are like mom pop places, that have been in business forever. They're like, we're not returning phone calls right now. Email us. We'll get back to you at some point in the future, possibly. I mean, it's like I'm exaggerating a little bit, but like every house is screwed up. Like not all of them. On my street, like 75% of the houses have roof damage. So like you can't find anybody to do anything. And then what sucks is all these like people come in from outside the state. They're just trying to take advantage of people. And I'm going to stretch a minute while I'm ranting about rip-off contractors. But yeah, this one guy came up to my my in-laws, and they're like, yeah, we can remove this oak tree that fell in your backyard for $8,000. It's like, what? No, thank you. Like, they're just trying to get over on like people that don't know any better. It's kind of sad, but it happens every major storm. There's always like people that just come in from all over and try to screw people over. Okay, I think I'm gonna go into Photoshop and let's finish this up over there. I'm just more comfortable with transforming objects and stuff in Photoshop than I am in Clip Studio. Um, all right, so let's close this and warning, my face is about to take up all of your screen. Sorry about that. Give me a second. My frame rate looks like it's 10. Does it look that bad for y'all? It looks terrible. I gotta figure out my camera situation. And let's see. Yeah, like even like yeah, I don't understand. Like this webcam is a decent webcam. I mean it's old, but okay, I can manually set it to 30. Does that actually work though? That is not 30 frames a second. I don't know why it's doing that. Oh well, I'll figure it out at some point. Okay, so this is Photoshop, and let's see. What did I come here to do? Oh, place that logo. Pretty dang close. There we go. We got our logo. And why is this stuff popping off the screen? I really wish that's something that Photoshop would do better at. Or actually any app. It's like, if I open up hue saturation, I want it to be on the monitor that I'm using. How about that? Her mouth's a weird color, I think is the problem. That's better. So to me, this looks like I did more than I did. I mean, the people that are around here that like see how I normally color. Would you agree with that? Because I don't have any objectivity at this point on this. I've just completely lost it. But it doesn't feel like it feels like it's twice as detailed as it usually is, but it doesn't feel like twice as much work. Does that make sense? A lot of time was spent on that shadow layer. It wasn't as much as you think, though. I mean, it was. I mean, yeah, it took more time, but I'm not saying it didn't take more time. But like, I feel like I feel like it wasn't as I don't know. To me, the results feel like I did a lot more than I did time wise. Maybe I'm wrong. Professor Diaz, hello. How are you? So maybe I'll start the. Yeah, it's 11:30. We can go a little bit longer. We'll do a couple more of these, or do one more of these, or at least start the process. Thanks for everybody signing up for courses, by the way, or if you bought something or whatever. Thank you, or subscribed, or liked, or any of that stuff. I appreciate it. There are links in the description to ways to support this channel if you want. All right, you guys get to pick who I do next. Multiple choice. We have. Actually, let me rename this and this. I'm going to sleep on this. I don't know. I might decide to do something with the background, or I might leave it like it is. I don't really know yet. All right, here are your options. And all of these are flatted with bad colors, so don't look at the colors. The flat colors are irrelevant. We have Panthro, Lion-O. They put a lot of work into these names, guys. And Tigra. I'll do a straw poll. We'll make it official. I'm going to eventually do all of these. Give me 1 second. Which, here, I'll put this in here. Which one to color next? A, B, C. All right, links in the chat. Winner is the one I start working on next. I do have a Snarf. He's not flatted yet. These are your options, Jason. All right, we have 4 people voting so far. If you're hanging out on the sidelines, lurking, come vote on the poll. Feel free to lurk also. Multiple choice is always C. Oh, and you guys can't even see what C is. There we go. There's A, B, and C. Multiple choice is always C. A lot of Tiger fans in here. I'll leave this open for another minute. Yeah, 1 minute on the poll. I voted before seeing C. Dang it. I'll subtract 1 from whatever you did. Oh, it's changing now. Lion-O's getting some love here. Good old Lion-O. All right, 30 seconds. 57 people watching and 13 voting. They don't care, dude. They're like, just color something, dude. We don't care. I'm trying to be interactive with my audience. I'm trying to do something cool. Leave me alone. I can't talk about lurkers because I'm a lurker on all the streams that I watch. No, stop your work and come type with us. That makes so much sense. No, I understand lurkers. It's fine. Okay. We're going to call it. Where are we at on the poll? Do I need a tiebreaker? Come on. Somebody break this tie between B and C. What's going on? All right, 40 seconds to change this from what it is now. Oh, you guys can't see. We got Panthro is now winning. $20 seconds. Isn't this exciting? I have to make my own entertainment, guys. Okay, it's looking like Panthro is going to win. Well, I'm only counting legal votes. People from other countries, no joking about our crappy political system right now. It's too soon. It's not even over yet. Okay, we're going to call it. We're going to say it's Panthro. I feel like the contrarians showed up at one point. They're like, C. Just C. All right, so Lion-O and Tiger will have to come later. Oh, you know what? Let me open that back up so I remember what I did. I probably will remember, but I'll keep it open just in case. And I need to change the title because I am no longer working on Chitara. I don't want to clickbait anybody. You're getting Panthro now, people. I mean, I would love to be a guy in the room, in the boardroom. They're like, all right, we have these Thundercats guys. What are their names? It's like, I don't know. Put an O at the end of species of cats. See what happens. Genius. Do you have a tutorial step-by-step for beginners? Yes. Go to the description. Check on the links. There are entire courses, start to finish. I mean, I have some YouTube videos too, but there we go. Depends on how much information you want. If you want enough to get going, go to YouTube. You really want to learn like all my crap, go to my courses. Okay, let's move this back over. I don't know how I pinned a comment earlier. That makes no sense. I'm going to unpin that. Sorry about that. Ocellato. Ocellato is it's their cousin. He didn't make it. He didn't make it. Okay. So these are the flats that my flatter did. Okay. all these colors are wrong, but they did all the work of separating them out. That's all. Only thing their job is to separate all this stuff out. I'm not going to actually use any of this as far as the actual colors. I need reference for Panthro. He's blue, right? Am I remembering correctly? Let's see. Oh, yeah. He's the guy that had the... Okay, cool. Yeah, the nunchucks with the claws on the ends of them. This is what he looks like, by the way. You guys don't know what he looks like. Put that over there. Put that over there. Don't forget thumbs up on the video. Yes, thank you, Carlos. I'm so terrible at telling my audience to do the things that YouTubers tell their audience to do. I have watchers that come in and bail me out, so thank you. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do to start off with. Let's get a background color of some kind in here. Maybe something like that. I need to get back into Clip Studio also. Let's close this. Go back to Clip. There we go. Where do we start? All right, I'm gonna make a layer. We're gonna call this flats. All right, so starting with like his skin tone, something in that ballpark. And let's just start from there. And actually, I'm gonna put do some kind of background back here. Similar to what I did on the other one, which is really not much of anything interesting, but beautiful. All right, so I'm actually not going to worry about any colors at this point because this next stage doesn't really have anything to do with the base colors. So I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to call it AO for ambient occlusion. And as far as lighting on this guy, like there's not a super strong like directional light source other than just it's kind of from the top. Like you get a few shadows under here, you get some shadows under his neck, you know, then here, like all the little places that should have shadows have shadows. So again, the light source is just generally going to be from the top on this. And then I don't know. I don't know what I mean, are they just all going to get randomly different colored backgrounds? I don't know. I thought about making them all white, but white looks weird as a background color to me on something like this. I'm just going to leave it like it is. And I'm going to get a soft airbrush. Make sure that my flats are, is that the flats actually? Yeah, the flats are actually here. And I'm going to relabel this to base colors. And I'm going to lock these flats so I don't change them and make the flats layer a reference layer first. That way, even though I'm not on my flats layer, like I can select like his skin, for example, without being on that layer. So you can think about this like, and I know like art purists out there are probably just like, what is he doing or whatever, but I don't care. But I'm gonna start by just basically putting in some shadows in all the places that are that is hard for light to get to. Any sort of little nook or cranny is the common language around here. Any place that like two planes meet together, they tend to darken a little bit. And this will basically become my base for these colors, and I'll still do rendering over the top just like I did the other. But yeah, ambient occlusion is talked about more, like you hear it more around like game design and things like that, like because it's something that computers can do. They can kind of do these calculations now without it without having to program specifically for it. As far as like the technology now been around where they can say like these two objects are meeting together, the light's not going to bounce there, like it'll automatically create that kind of stuff in some games. And I already have like a very kind of mechanical process anyway, so I think this sort of fits into my process pretty well. It's basically just one extra step for the most part. It's a hard thing to try to get across to people though. Like I don't hopefully this is making sense what I'm doing here, because I don't know if it is or not. Like it's one of those things that's if you see it, it makes sense, but I don't know. What's better for you, clip or PS? I answered that really specifically in the FAQ, like just because it gets asked a lot. But briefly, I like reference layers a lot. For the way that I work, it saves a lot of time, and so reference layers are the primary reason that I'm working in Clip Studio right now. And the reason I'm doing most of my coloring in it. So all these little wrinkles are going to not really have a lot of light inside. Basically, you're creating an underpainting. That's exactly what I'm doing. Like, I've seen some watercolor painters do this too. I haven't really thought about that till just now, but I always think it's interesting to me there are colorists and artists and people that I see that like want to kind of crap on using a lot of layers or trying to like I don't quite understand it myself, but it's always funny to me. It's like traditional artists do that. Like traditional artists work in layers. So I don't really know. I don't know where all that stuff comes from. Usually it's from older people that they already think digital is cheating or something, probably. Um, you can see the level of concern on my face for that, hopefully. Can I do everything in one layer? Yeah, always. I Here's the thing. Like I don't think like general public like art YouTuber tutorial searcher outer person whatever you want to call it. Anybody's looking for like tutorials on YouTube and trying to learn more and all that kind of stuff. There is a difference in like how do I put this? There are things, especially comic book colors, because normally a full time colorist is working on 3, 4, 5, 6 books a month, um, and there are things that colorists do to save time, like working on multiple layers or whatever. Um, that doesn't necessarily mean like that's the only way to do anything. Like you can work on one layer, you can work on 100 layers. Like it doesn't really matter that much. Um, but I do think that there are some that kind of confuse like why things happen. It's like, well, like, well, how can you recommend like people? I do recommend people learn to color on one layer and learn to pick your own colors and not rely on blending modes all the time for everything. Like all that stuff will help you be a better artist. But you also have to understand that that means that for people that are in production environments like comics, like there are aspects of that are there's fundamental stuff that happens there that I think a lot of not a lot, but I think some people just don't quite wrap their heads around. It's like I don't know if that makes any sense or not, but yeah, there's usually a reason for working this way. I think traditionalists are looking down using non-destructive layers. They think you should commit to something and move on. Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with the people that think that. My point is, like, traditional painters still think in terms of layers. Like, whether or not they can, like, the fact that I can change mine after I've painted over it is just a benefit for me. You know? But yeah, I don't know. I get what you're saying though. One thing I'm not really doing at this stage is really thinking about the texture of these things very much. That would usually come later in the highlights. I'm kind of treating all this as if it's pretty similar, because I think these kind of shadows, it doesn't matter quite as much. I think anyway. The character looks amazing, and your beard, and the beard also looks amazing. Sure. Thank you there. My 2-year-old would like to say hi. Hello, 2-year-old. I have a hard time figuring out where the shadows should go at this stage. Any advice? I'm working on that, I guess. It's a hard thing to try to explain. It's like where the light isn't, which is very broad, non-helpful advice. But it's where the light can't easily reach or bounce into. And technically, what's happening is in like every time light bounces, it gets a little bit weaker. You know, every time it bounces, it gets a lot weaker than it is. So like as you get into areas that you know, your primary light source isn't reaching, any secondary light sources aren't reaching, it's literally the ambient light shadows. Like, sorry, I just hit my thing. What helped me with this more than anything is actually just finding images of it from like video games and stuff. It might help you wrap your head around it a little bit more. Let me see if I can find. Let me see what the official definition is here from VR. Who is this? Shading and rendering used for global background and indirect shading of objects. The method is used to add more realism to the render because it creates soft global shadows that contribute to the visual separation of objects. What does Wikipedia have to say? Ambient occlusion is a shading and rendering technique used to calculate how exposed each point in a scene is to ambient lighting. And I think it helps understand what ambient lighting is. It's, you know, it's not a direct light source. It's not like a light bulb in the room. It's like the overall effect of all the lights in the room. But if you, I'm trying to find some decent screenshots of this. I looked for some yesterday and I only found a couple of decent ones. Let me pull this in so you guys can see too. Here we go. Here's a good example. Yeah, here you go. Here's a formula for it. Guys, you got this, right? You got this figured out? This should explain it straight away. Just right here. Just memorize that, you're good to go. Um Yeah, so this is like how they're calculating ambient occlusion, but here's a good example. I'm not going to sign in to see the full size image, but whoops. I don't know what I just looked at. But you see how, like, so the one on the left here has no ambient occlusion. Like, there's no, the only shadows that are in these spheres are just the shadows from the primary light source, okay? This example, like especially look like deep into this, like in the real world, like this would be in shadow down here, like this little space in between these two where it's dark here, you know. In this one, the ambient occlusion isn't being calculated. In this one it is, so you can see like where the spheres meet the table and that kind of stuff. Anyway, it looks like they're using this for like medical purposes and stuff, which is interesting. Here's another example. Like, this is just ambient light or ambient occlusion. So you can't see much under the car. Anywhere where two objects kind of meet, they get darker. There's a bunch of stuff in here I don't get, but okay. So yeah, this kind of explains what I'm doing. So here's the diffuse light, which is like a regular light source. Here's the ambient occlusion. Here's them combined. That's kind of what I'm going for here. Because I can do both steps separately in my head, and it almost requires, it doesn't require brain power. I don't have to think about it if I separate it. If I had to try to think about it and combine them both at the same time, I wouldn't be able to do it like this. So anyway, I don't know if that helps at all. I got to figure out a better way to explain ambient occlusion than what I am. I realize that. But anyway, that's the best I can do for now. At some point, someone thought it was cheating if you didn't make your own pin from a feather. Yeah, probably so. How am I? I'm good, thank you. Late to the party? Yeah, you are, but it's fine. Amazing, I can do it perfectly now. Okay, good. I'm glad we figured it out, Ryan. Do you figure in directional lighting at this stage? Yeah, you still have to figure out. You still have to know, you know, where most of the lights would be. You know, you still, like, if the light's coming from the top, you can see I'm getting underneath most of this stuff. But yeah, this is not intuitive at all to explain to me. Like, there's some things to me that I've been talking about for years and like kind of makes sense, and I can, you know, I can talk about it, you know, pretty in depth. But this is not one of those things that I'm used to talking about very much. So I figure the more I do it, and the more I stream, and the more I talk about it, then eventually I will have a decent explanation for it. But basically, as things turn away from the camera, and turn away from the light, they get darker. How about that? does that make any more sense than what I said before? I hear the sounds of criminal intent coming from the living room. I can't watch those shows. My wife loves them. Catch a bad guy every 45 minutes. I can't watch it. Oh, man. Yeah, I didn't really realize how used to those kind of shows she was until we tried to watch Broadchurch. Have you guys ever seen that? It's like a, you know, kind of slow burn BBC detective drama, which like I watch all of those. Like if the BBC has ever had a detective show, I've probably watched it, unless it's like super old or something. Um, but yeah, I always make fun of her. I'm like, did the good guys win? Like, but yeah, those shows drive me insane. Broadchurch is a tough watch. It's one of my favorite shows all the time. Like I love the environment. I want to go there. I want to see the cliffs. I want to stand on the beach. I want to live in one of those little houses off in the middle of nowhere. Like I just love everything about that show. And my wife, like, she's like, everything is gray there. Like the sun never comes out. I'm like, is it like that? Maybe it's like that all the time. I don't know. Line of Duty I've watched. Top of the Lake I've watched. Which one was the one with Gillian Anderson? There was like a Top of the Lake and the Lady in the Lake, or in the water. There was a couple. There was two shows that I mix up. There was one that had Gillian Anderson in it. Um, anything she's in, I've probably seen too, except for The Crown. I gotta watch The Crown. Is The Crown any good, by the way? Anybody? Like, I'm usually not into like dramas like that, but it's one of those shows everybody won't shut up about, and so I kind of want to check it out. Actually, so you'd paint this stage like you were the light source, with emphasis on the shadows that gather in more closed off spaces, less in more open areas. Yes, that's it. It doesn't really matter though. The camera doesn't make much difference at this stage. Actually, it's it I guess it does a little bit though. Yeah, it totally does. Because a lot of these kind of lights, the light kind of shifts as the camera moves. You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, the camera does make a little bit of difference on this. All right, I think we're almost done with this stage. Whoops. All right, have I missed anything? I think we got everything. We'll fix it later if we don't. Okay, so this is all. This looks like this by itself. Okay. And actually, I want to do a little bit on the side of his head. Okay. So we're going to get under this, again, to the base color. So it's under everything I've done so far. And let's see. So originally he had spikes on his costume. He doesn't have them on this one, though. So I'm going to select all of these strappy things, which I'm sure have some sort of purpose, which we're not aware of. And I'm just going to start shifting all these colors around. It's interesting. You see how gray he got as soon as I added an actual blue. The wonders of color. It's like he looks cooler than the straps. He looks warmer than the straps. Depending on where they are. So I'm just kind of pushing this stuff around lighter and darker and whatever. At this point, what is he wearing? Yeah, this costume is pretty different from the original, so I'm just going to kind of do... I'm going to do whatever I want here. Because I don't know what he intended here. If he needs me to change something, I will. Oh, I forgot. One of his nunchuck things is blue and one's red. I forgot about that. And he has one in the new cartoon. He has one red glove. Did he have that in the old one? I don't want to upset any Thundercats fans out there that know. Yeah, I'm just gonna pick a slightly different color here and go a little bit green just to give us something interesting to look at other than all this blue. And let's see, his eyes are red, orange. One of those. Oh. Whoops. Just deleted everything. And I talked about this on a stream, I think last week, but the reason that I start now, most of the time I start with one color and then just adjust everything into place, is because I would rather start with like an overall color that I know everything's kind of in the ballpark of. So like in this case, this kind of blue color that I want for his skin. And then it's just, I'm basically asking at every stage when I change a color, because I do think like picking base colors is tough for a lot, and I get a lot of questions about it. So what I'm saying is, by starting this way, then I'm basically asking one, like for example, these little circular things here. Okay, all this stuff, these spikes. So I know I want it to be lighter first than everything else is, so I can brighten it. That's the first question. Is it lighter or darker than everything else? And then I can ask, do I want it to be more saturated? Do I want it to be less saturated? Like whatever I want to get out of that, that's usually next. I'm going to desaturate it a little bit to make sure it shows up as kind of gray. And then with this, there's really no hue. I'm not going to worry about it. But at this stage, I would shift the hue, you know, warm or cool, depending on where it is. But by doing that, it makes it easier for me to like get a set of colors that kind of fit together, as opposed to just like randomly come over here and be like, does this green work or whatever, you know? I don't know if that makes sense or not, but hopefully it does. I always thought that light bouncing off a surface at an oblique angle to the viewer would make a darker area, even if that surface is in the light, as the light isn't headed in the right direction. I don't quite follow that question. Try one more time. Like, light bouncing off a surface at an oblique angle to the viewer, like, at that point, the object, if you're talking about, like imagine that he had, like, let's say he had a light bulb, like, behind him over here somewhere, right? Actually, let's put it right here. And let's say this is, you know, maybe 10, 20, 10, 15 feet behind him. Like, if the angle from, like, this, like, off of his head into the camera is right, if you think about it like that, think about this plane, for example, as just like a side of a mirror or something, right? There are angles that you're going to reflect this light right into the camera, and it's actually going to get brighter than it would be, you know, if that light was shifted to the side a little bit, you know, or whatever. Like, if you hit the angles just right, you end up just like you're trying to reflect light in a mirror. It's called the Fresnel effect, Fresnel. It's French or something, I think. I did a video on it a while back, but it has everything to do with the texture, not the texture, but the position, and the position of the camera makes all the difference in the world for that kind of light. So when you're talking about like oblique angles and all that, like when you talk about it that way, like, I don't know if that's what you're saying or not 100%, but anyway, get rid of that. The other thing you can do, so like I kind of did just kind of one pass on this. I actually want to change. I'm going to make this a little bit warmer. There we go. But yeah, yeah, it's got a Groot in the thumbnail. All right. So at this stage, what I did last time, I doubled this layer that I just created, which is going to make everything even darker. Okay. This is too much though, and it's too dark. Okay. So I'm going to put a mask on it and actually fill that mask so that it completely goes away. And then any areas where I do want to pump that up, basically, I can just go to the mask and then let some more of that through. So like under his chin, you know, maybe some of this under his arm, where it would get really dark, or at least darker than it is here. And I'm not painting here, I'm just revealing that darker section that's underneath here. So not a lot of that coming through, just in a few places. And actually, it could probably merge this down at this point. Merge the layer below. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, sorry. I think I'm gonna flip-flop these colors. No, I'm not. Go back where it was. Okay, so at this point, I'm gonna select his skin, which is just all of that. And I'm actually gonna duplicate this layer again, but this time I'm gonna drag the original underneath the flat so it doesn't show up. I just want it to be there in case I need it. I'll lock it too so I don't accidentally screw it up. And then on this layer, I'm gonna open up color balance and shift this color. Or add some color. Right now it's just gray, which is why it looks boring. And so I'm darkening and changing some of these shadows at this point. And I'm changing it more on his skin than anywhere else. Like, I'm kind of fine with it being flatter on some of this other stuff, just because the materials are different. I kind of need to decide if I want him to actually be this. He's grayer than this. He is way grayer than what I'm doing here. I'm going to turn this down. This should also make some of that blue come out more. So I'm just desaturating the base color. That looks way better. It just looks more like him, I guess. And I'm going to turn this blue up some to get it further away from his skin. There we go. I was just about to suggest switching the nunchuck colors. Not all the light that hits an object makes it to the viewer. Okay, check. All the light that bounces off the subject at the right angle directly facing the viewer, surfaces that turn away from the viewer are a bit darker than those directly facing the viewer, unless there's a stronger direct light source flooding the area and overwhelming the shadows. Yes. Yeah, generally, yes. I would say, yeah, that all sounds true to me. And his muzzle is lighter. Yeah, so he's got some variation in his skin, kind of like Chitara did on his chest and under his eyes and his mouth. So let's go ahead and change that too. Thank you, Chris, for reminding me. I would have figured it out at some point, probably. So yeah, it's such an interesting decision design wise, but yeah, it's just this area. Yep, and that goes down to there. Yeah, and he's kind of snarling on one side, like he's got that, this thing's pushing up, so I'm making that higher than the other side. Always follow your, what do you call it? Your facial planes, whatever you call it. This actually comes out. Yeah, so like there, and also I need to fix this eye. I need to make it orange too. And then under his eyes, is that? Yeah. Depends on which version you're looking at as far as how these things are shaped. Something about like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, he does have a scar. Maybe his eye's screwed up. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I should have noted I was specifically talking about ambient light conditions. Direct light tends to overwhelm and blow out the subtlety. Yeah. Yeah, I think I know what you mean. And also his chest is lighter too. It goes all the way out to the sides. And then kind of down through here. There, he already looks way better. Gotta go now. Good day to everyone. You gonna try this yourself? Yeah, I'd like to see what you guys come up with. All right, so let's see. I'm gonna throw around some real. Well, let me do this. Let me make a new layer on top, and let's see. I'm gonna pick the background color. Whoops. Actually, let's make this a multiply layer. I'm gonna try. I'm kind of just gonna scribble some stuff on here because I always want to see what it looks like. I'm not really. This is not rendering. So the colors I've got shifted in the shadows a little bit, basically toward toward the background color, like kind of reddish, reddish color. Don't want it to be purple. I just want it to be warmer. Something about like that, maybe. All right, so do the same thing I did before. I'm going to put a mask on this, and I'm going to stretch for a second, and then we'll do some of this. I need to refill my water again, too. Questions, comments, concerns? I noticed YouTube didn't suggest this video today, which it's interesting. They've been doing that for the last few. I can't figure out their system for when they decide to. Yeah, it's been pretty flat today. When they decide to recommend streams, I don't know. I don't understand it. Make sure it's. I'm curious if it's still monetized. They've demonetized the last two. Hold on. What just happened? Did I lose you guys? Are you still here? What just happened? Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Or can you guys still see what's going on? I've lost my bear with me a second. Yeah, they did it again. Not suitable for monetization, and that's probably why they're not. I really wish I had somebody I could talk to. It's so frustrating. This video is not monetized at all. It's really what's aggravating about this is the fact that I've been on YouTube for 8 years, providing them with plenty of ad revenue. I can't talk to anybody. Like all I can do is after the fact submit it for review, and they'll say it's fine, but they didn't run ads on it because it's limited. Okay, so you guys can see. No, I see you guys are here. I'm irritated, really irritated over this. I mean, seriously. I'm on Twitch for 2 years. The first 3 streams that I do on YouTube, they demonetize. Not suitable for most audiences. This makes me want to never, ever stream on this again. It's not a lot of money, guys. I realize that. It's just the freaking principle. Like, it's frustrating because I can't do anything. I literally can't do anything. I can't do anything about it. I can bitch on Twitter. We'll see if that does anything. Can a human being please let me know why my streams are all limited ads? Is that what they call it? Limited monetization. Asking for a review after the fact is useless because the ads never ran. Please advise. How about that? That's how I can maybe get in touch with somebody. Last time I posted something, they didn't respond at all. So what do you do? Like, what do you do? Like, I can't run a business this way. I know they can demonetize you if you don't. Yeah, I'm not playing music. It has nothing to do with music. Can they do it for visual images? No. I mean, they can demonetize you for visual images if you're like doing porn or something. Sure, but like, YouTube has changed, man. No worries. No, actually, it is a worry. Like, cause it's my job. Like, this is my job, and if this is how it's going to be on YouTube, I'm going to cancel all the stuff that I said I was going to do on YouTube and go back to Twitch. And at least I can make, you know, I get a few subs over there, but I'll get nothing on YouTube for this. Absolutely nothing. Like, and it's just freaking maddening because I can't get an answer. Like, I cannot get an answer. Like, if you go through their little tree that you have to go through to try to get questions answered on YouTube, it'll always send you to the community post. And you have to just hope that some other user has the exact problem you do and that they're going to answer it. Like, it's so stupid. I think I'm done for today, guys. This is a good stopping point, and I've ran over about half an hour what I usually do anyway. I apologize that I'm extremely frustrated right now with this. There's no satisfaction here. Like, I cannot get satisfaction from this situation. I've submitted it for a review. They'll decide in a couple hours after I'm offline, after the video's gone, after it can't run ads anymore, that it was fine. I don't get any information either, Jason. Like that's here. Here's the information that I get. I can show you guys this. I guess I don't guess it matters. This video is being reviewed to determine whether it's suitable for most advertisers. You'll get a final decision within a week. If it's not suitable, they're not running ads on it. And if they're not running any ads on it, then I won't get anything from this. Like, I mean, sure, some people will go to the description and buy something, and that's awesome, and I appreciate it, and I thank you, and I don't want you to think that I'm taking that for granted. I appreciate it. But, like, the couple of bucks that I get from these ads on streams actually helps. It makes a difference. Not suitable for most advertisers under review. So they're not going to review it while I'm on the stream, obviously. So by the time the stream is over, the answer is irrelevant. Like... It's so stupid. I'll definitely follow you over to Twitch. Not everybody will. Actually, let me rephrase that. No, most people don't. I appreciate that you would. But I'm living proof that my audience does not follow me to Twitch. Okay? I've been on Twitch for 2 years. I got people on YouTube have no idea I was even over there. I see it happen every day. So, like, I don't know what to do. I really do not know what to do. Like, begging on Twitter, like, is that how you do it? Do I just keep consistently, like, maybe once an hour, keep tagging them until somebody sees it? Like, what's the system? Like, I mean, I'll even show you guys what happens when I try to, like, open a support ticket on this. Because this is bullshit. I'm tired of it. Demonetize me for that. How about that? It doesn't matter at this point. Where is... Yeah, sorry, I'm pissed, guys. American pissed. I'm not drunk. We have a different definition here. Where is it at? Yeah, I can't even find it. God, this is just... Oof. I do not have patience for this. Where? I can't even find the help. Okay, help. This has got a bunch of stuff I can't Show. Can I show this stuff? I don't even know if I can or not. I'm going to bring in, like, how about that? Okay. I can't show the rest of this page. Need more help. Ask the help community. This is not going to work for me. Contact us. Fantastic. Let's contact them. I need help with YouTube. Okay, good. With my channel, managing performance, memberships, one-time purchases. What do you got? I don't know. Channel, I guess. Who knows? Tell us what you need help with. Limited ad. This is just doing, like, it's doing keyword. It doesn't actually look at anything. Yellow icon appeal rejected. It hasn't been rejected yet. Problem with YouTube giving, content ID, ad formats, refund, other. Okay, it's other. Next step. Request a refund. Limited or no ads explained. I don't need it explained. I need it fixed. So none of these really apply to me. So I'm going to click next. And my option is community. I go post on a forum somewhere and hope some other idiot with the same problem I have says something. Like, I can go back and, like, click around other stuff and, like, try to like fake my way into getting in touch with somebody. Yeah, now I can email. If I choose refund for YouTube giving, which is not at all what my problem is, then I get an email contact. So if I send an email through this, they're probably going to say, well, you actually are, this is not a refund problem. Like, you should have gone through the community help. Like, I'll try this because I don't know what else is going to be an option. But this is not, like, the way they want me to do this. And I'll try the community thing again. Like, I mean, sure, they want me to jump through the hoop. Like, I'll jump through that hoop. But, like, it hasn't provided any satisfaction so far. In the other times I've tried it. So, what does it normally say when you're live streaming? It just says, hold on, guys. Let me get this over here. I don't know what the wording is. It's just monetization's on. Like, the thing is green and that's it. I'm seeing, to give you guys, the reason I'm so mad about this is, like, between all the live streams and some of the new videos I put up, like, my views right now are the highest they've ever been in a month. Like, 67,000 is a lot for me. That's not a lot of views, I know, but compared to others, that's a lot for me. It's 44% higher than it is on average, okay, according to looking at their analytics. The revenue is 8% higher. Now, I realize that's not going to be like a 1-to-1 ratio. But the reason the revenue is so low is because it's almost all live stream views that are demonetized. Like, so I don't do this for the money. As far as, like, live streaming, it doesn't turn into a ton of money for me, okay? Like, it helps get the word out on other videos. It helps to, like, just generally spread awareness of whatever else I have going on. But the little bit that it does add, the extra 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks a month it would probably should have added, would make a difference to me right now. So, anyway, like I said, I'm sorry to just get on here and complain and all this stuff, but I'm beyond past being tired of this. So yeah, thank you for listening to my rant. Thank you for watching today. Are there any questions or comments or concerns about anything else you might have that I can answer before I leave for today? And send this email to YouTube. Everybody's like, I'm not asking him nothing. He's crazy. That's the other maddening thing is YouTube, until today, they've generally been suggesting the videos more. And then they'll decide at some point near the end that is demonetized, and I don't see any of that ad revenue. And it would be different if I was doing something to earn it. You know, if I was just drawing like TNA all the time, like, sure, okay, yeah, don't demonetize me if I'm breaking the rules. But anyway, I don't see any questions, Sorry for ranting. I'm just... yeah. Thank you for watching. I'll be back soon. Maybe on YouTube, maybe somewhere else. We'll find out next time. Take care of yourselves. Be safe.